All right, we want to go ahead and keep working with our glide reflections and compositions. This will be the second day of 7.5. What we're going to move into now is we're going to describe compositions given that we can follow the points and see what happens on the graph. If we look at the example here that we're given, we start with figure ABCD. It's going to somehow move to A prime, B prime, C prime, D prime, and then move to A double prime, B double prime, C double prime, and D double prime. What we need to do is figure out what happens. So one of the key things that we need to focus on is we're given this line x equals 2, this vertical line that is drawn. We start with A, B, C, D, and somehow it moves to A prime, B prime, C prime, D prime in red here. The question is, how did this happen? Well, it looks like all we've done is reflected our image over that line x equals 2. So what you would write is reflection in x equals 2. Notice that it is the same thing, it's just mirrored over, and all points are the same distance away from that line, just on the other side of it. Now the question is, how do we go from our red picture here to our green picture? Well, it looks like we've got some sort of rotation. The question is, how do we know what rotation it is? Well, if we rotate that what appears to be 90 degrees, and it will end up being a 90-degree rotation, but you can see that we've got this arrow here that tells us that we're rotating. And now, if you would follow our pattern of rotating about the origin, it'll look very similar, except the only difference is now instead of rotating about the origin, you can see that the two lines showing us our rotation meet right here, about at x equals 2. So we're going to rotate about the point to 0. So really what you want to do is you want to follow your points, see what's happening, and then try and fit one of the transformations that we have talked about into one of the transformations that is depicted in the picture that you're given. So if we want to use somewhat of a real-life example, you do puzzles, there's a mathematical game called Pentominoes. Really what you're trying to do is take all these different types of squares and tiles that they give you, and then you want to make some sort of shape. In this case, what we want to do is we want to use the tiles that were given here, F, Z, P, and V, and we want to use this to complete a 6x5 rectangle. So the dimension part of this really isn't so important. The key part is we need to be able to make this rectangle. So let's start and let's focus on this shape right here that we would need to fill. Well, looking at the available tiles, the only one that seems reasonable would be F, because I've got this kind of T shape in with F that I don't really have with any of the other pieces. The only problem is the way that F sits right now is not going to fit right into that space. So we need to get that to fit. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to rotate it 90 degrees. So now our shape is going to look, and you guys get the wonderful job of getting to see some of Mr. Vigdahl's wonderful artwork. So roughly that's what it's going to look like when we rotate it 90 degrees. I apologize for my wonderful artwork, but that's the best that we got. So now we're getting closer to being able to fit this into that area, but we're not quite there. So we've got an L shape up at the top going to the left, but we need that to go in an L shape that goes to the left on the bottom. So what we're going to do is we're going to reflect it over a line. We reflect that over the line, and we get a shape that'll look much more like what we need. All right, now that we have this green space filled with F doing the 90-degree rotation and then using that reflection, we need to figure out what is going to fit into this space here that will be able to fit from the existing parts that we already have. Obviously, Z isn't going to work. It's a Z shape. The space available is not a Z shape. It's more of an L shape. So now we've narrowed our options down to V or P. Both are L-shaped. However, looking at the available space that we have, V is about the same length going left and right as it is up and down, whereas P is a little fatter on the width than it is going height-wise. So that one looks like it's the better option. Now we just need to figure out how we can use transformations to get this piece to fit. If we start and we rotate this 90 degrees, we will get a shape that looks like this. Again, close to what we want, but not quite. We are going to rotate. After our rotation, we are going to reflect. I apologize. We're going to reflect over a line. We will then get a shape that looks like this, which is going to be the last step. Now that we have both of these pieces in the correct position, we use translations to slide them to where they need to go. All right, that's all I have for you today. If you have any questions, feel free to email me. Other than that, here's your assignment. We will check these when I get back. Thanks for watching.